Wow.
So that's
Okay.
like the new Wish app. I mean, Wish thing or whatever.
Yeah. All right. Well, good afternoon, beautiful people. This is your host, Matthew, from the Day and Night Podcast. We got another good one for y'all. Hopefully, everybody enjoyed the last episode. Um, we're a little late. We were supposed to start at 5:30, but had some things going on, so we couldn't start on time. But as always, like, subscribe, comment if you can. Continue to to share if you are. Again, we're on Wednesdays, again on YouTube and on Spotify. So, all right, Marcus, what you got for us?
Well, I just want to say good afternoon, everybody. I hope everybody's having a good Saturday, and thank you for tuning in. Looking for this episode, looking forward to this episode. And just like always, echoing what Matt said, like, subscribe, share, leave a comment. As always, that helps. It really shows that you guys are engaged. And just, STS, you're going to hear me say it all the time. Just stay focused, trust the process that you in, and just stay consistent. And I promise you, you'll reach whatever it is you're trying to reach in life, fitness goals, levels, whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. On that note, I'm ready. Let's get it going. Let's talk about it.
All right, you sure you look like you just woke up too?
I did. I told you I kind of fell asleep. But yeah.
All right, so this topic is going to kind of touch bases on a little bit what we talked about, I think 2 weeks ago when we was talking about laws of the universe. So this one is more or less geared towards um, law number 10, which is the law of polarity. So last week, I'm going to share my experience, and Mark, if you want to share yours, you can do so. So I was driving home, and my lights and stuff is out, so I'm waiting for my lights to come in. So the one light was not working, and it was like going on and off. So it was still kind of dark in the morning. So I
Mm-hmm.
had to pull over and I had to wait. And I was like, man, it's just taking too long. I got to get home because I have to go to work. So I was like, screw it. So I just took off, and I was like, worried, man, hope the darn 50 don't stop me. Hopefully I don't get stopped by the cops and get a ticket. So I made it all the way home, turned on my corner, and sure enough, it was a friggin' black and white. And I looked at him, I was like, shoot, I'm should be good. I'm not speeding, I ain't doing nothing wrong. Sure enough, put
Right.
the blue lights on. I said, you gotta be freaking kidding me. So long story short, I'm thinking, well, I just got my inspection is good, so I don't have to worry about that. So he comes up, Mr. Brother, and he's like, hey, could you put down your back window? So I rolled down the back window, and then I put down the front. He's like, do you know why I stopped you? I said, no, I don't. He said, well, I could barely see you. Your windows are extremely dark. And the law in Georgia is 4%. So to make a long story short, he tested it. Of course, it was over, and I got ticketed. So this is what popped in my head, epiphany, if you want to call it that, whatever. So, and this is what kind of ties in with the law of polarity. There's opposites. There's always a flip side to the other. There's good. There's bad. Um, there's light. There's dark. There's happy. There's sad. Whatever we do in life, there's always an opposite. So it basically is like that to balance out the universe and to balance out life. So I was sitting there thinking, I didn't get up to first, I was upset. And I was like, man, there's always a damn brother. I got
Yeah.
stopped a couple of times, rolled past police many times, never
Right.
got stopped for the windows. But of course, this brother had to stop me and be super cop and give me a ticket. But as I was driving home, I said, you know what? I can't even get mad. The tent is illegal.
Yeah.
So whether it's a stupid law or not, and I don't believe the law makes any sense,
Right.
I was still riding illegal. So this is what came to me is that I got away with it for what, 2, 3 years since I had the car. Never got stopped or anything. So finally I got stopped. So basically what I'm getting to is for every good that we do, there's always going to have to be a bad. So if we was doing something that's illegal, at some point, laws of the universe, it has to balance out. So after all that time, I was getting away with it. No one's stopping me. Now it's coming to the point to where I'm going to get stopped for it because it's illegal, but it has to balance out. So that's the whole point of this conversation. And the whole topic is how the universe balances us out. So any and everything that we do is always going to be a good, and it's always going to be a bad. That's just the way it is. There's no way around it. We can't change it. We can't run from it. That's what we just have to deal with. Now, this is where it gets tricky, is because some of it has a lot to do with us as far as what we're doing to continue to allow it to be bad. Now, you're still going to have some good in your life, but if you're doing so much bad and you're doing so much that it's not going to balance itself out to whereas you're going to get more bad than good, and you may get enough good just to balance it out, but then it's going back to bad because that's how much bad intention or negativity, whatever you want to call it, you was putting into the universe. So that's just something, like I said, that illuminated with me. And I'm just curious, what you're spinning on it is, Mark. And if you want to share your story, and if that relates to you, if that makes sense, by all means, share.
I mean, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I can relate to it. I don't know if I'm gonna tell that whole story because with my situations is pretty much the same, but a little different. Is because I ran a red light. What was it, last week? And see, I don't know if I should be telling people this right now. This is a little bit too much information. But I'm just driving, the license wasn't suspended. Okay, let me just put that out there. I'll be transparent. Uh it was, what do they call it? Okay, when you have tickets in Texas, if you don't pay, this is tickets from way back almost 10 years ago. And it was from another county. And I paid partial of it, but I didn't pay the whole amount. And because it's out of town, and I'm not making no excuses, but sometimes you tend to let it slide and you put it on a back burner. I'm not going to say I ignored it. I just going to kind of put it like it wasn't a priority where it should have been because it was just a ticket. And then if you don't go to court, they put you down failure to appear. So long story short, my license was supposed to be renewed on our birthday. But when I went to go renew it is when I actually found out that I couldn't renew my license because of the prior tickets. And then they said, you need to take care of that. And until you do that, your license will be invalid. So it's not suspended. It's a difference for anybody to misunderstand. When your license is suspended is when DPS suspends it for, normally it's for no insurance in Texas, or if you have too many DUI, DWIs, whatever. But mine was just invalid, meaning technically I have a license, but I don't because it's not updated. So anyway, so last week I was driving, going to my daughter's house, and I was rushing, and your city is the same way where it's in the city, but it's kind of not. So with San Antonio, it's literally you cross the street and you in another little county. So it was called Leon Valley, and they have their own cops. So literally, I went through the light, and I knew it because it was a DPS building right over there. So I know cops always lurking around there. And I ran the light, trusting myself, thinking there wasn't nobody around. The dude was in the back, and it was dark, so he, like you, put the lights on, stopped me, and I immediately told him, I said, "Look, officer, I'm gonna just let you know right now." And I told him my situation. He said, "I still got to read your, take your license and run it." And he came back and said, "Yeah, you sure enough, your license is invalid. But I don't know if you know this, but you have a warrant, so I'm gonna have to, put you in cuffs." And then he was talking to me, and I was telling him my situation, and I was like, "Look, I'm paying the tickets. They gave me a payment plan. I'm working on it. I'm near the end." And he started laughing. He said, "Well, you ain't supposed to be driving like this, man. And because you get stopped, this is what happens." And the insurance that was in the car wasn't the accurate one, so they ran the insurance, and it took a while. So that's luckily he was able to find out that the car was covered with insurance, because if your car shows invalid, but if this is with the same company, they can do that nowadays where they can run it and see, because if your ticket, I mean, if your insurance is not valid, then they impound your car. But he was a cool cop. It was a white dude. He was cool. You know, he could have took, gave me a ticket. He said, I ain't gonna give you no ticket. I am gonna take you in though, because you have a warrant, because you have to taking care of this. And that's just something that's gonna stay on you until you take care of it. And he's like, we're just gonna keep you overnight. You see the magistrate and whatever. And then as soon as you get out, make sure you call them and talk to them and tell them your situation. So, with all that being said, now, like I said, I think what you were saying is true about you can't get away from you know that you have to take care of. Like I said, my situation, I did run the light, so I couldn't even get mad. Like, why is he stopping me? Because I knew it. I just thought I was gonna get away with it. But I will say this, so it's gonna sound like I'm trying to make excuse for what you're saying about how you're saying that it comes back on you. Now, I think if you know you're doing wrong and your intent is doing stuff, whatever it is, it don't have to be this certain circumstance like me. Whatever you're doing wrong and you know you're doing wrong, I think that's when, yeah, you should expect that to come back on you. But if you do something and you have good intentions, but even though you're doing it in a bad way, like with myself, my intentions was to take care of it. I just procrastinated. So to me, it's like, is the universe really paying you back, or you just being irresponsible? Now you can put both of them together and say, yeah, that's kind of cause and effect. But I just think for this particular situation, I think that's more or less me not doing what I was supposed to. So now there's other instances where people doing stuff and they know they doing wrong, like you were saying, and they just don't care. Then yeah, that's when the universe is like, okay, yeah, you're not realizing what you're doing is wrong. You're gonna wind up dealing with the consequences. So I agree with what you're saying, but I'm just saying I think it depends a little bit on the person intent. What's their intent? Like I said, mine was more irresponsibility than it was intentionally not trying to take care of that. Because I know some people that drive and don't have no license, and they know they should be driving, meaning they didn't even go get a license. Like literally, there's a guy that was another job I worked at a couple of years ago. He was driving for a whole 5, 6 years. I don't know how the hell he managed that long, but dude was like literally driving no license. Now that to me is intent where you know you're doing wrong and you just don't care. Yeah, that's gonna come back on you at some point.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, now what you're talking about is more so like cause and effect.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm more so talking about, and this can serve kind of like a motivational,
Yeah.
I won't say speech, but just a motivational inspiration, if you want to call it that. And I'm more so talking about as far as every good that we experience, we have to experience bad. Like, it doesn't matter if someone has good intentions or not. We have to experience the bad, because the only way of knowing that we have anything good is actually experiencing something bad. So that's like somebody that go through life and never experience anything, opposed to somebody that goes through life and experience stuff.
Right.
And who you going to trust more? I'm just going to throw it as I say, a mechanic that's worked on like several different type of cars, and you have a mechanic that never had any major issues as far as something they had to work on. Like they never had to truly troubleshoot. They just had oil changes, changing the tires, something that didn't really challenge their skill. But you had this other mechanic that had so many different things that come into the shop that challenge his skills as a mechanic. He's more experienced. So if you come into the shop and you talking to the mechanics and you see that this one has more experience, you're more likely going to go with that one. So basically what I'm getting to is we have to experience bad stuff in life, regardless. I know some people may disagree with that. I know some people may say, well, it's the devil or whatever, or it's karma. That's a different aspect of the laws of the universe. But this one is like, everybody have to experience something. Now, do it have to be like really, really, terrible, or, it's so traumatic that the person won't be able to recover? No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is we have to experience something that's going to challenge our mental, spiritual, physical, every aspect of our being to see if we can keep going forward. That's just what it is. And just like I was saying, in everything in life, there's an opposite to the other. It's just that's just what it is. So that's what I was more or less referring to when I was saying that as much as I was not getting away, but as much as I wasn't being stopped for that,
Right. Yeah.
now it's time for me to be stopped because it has to be balanced. Like being that I was doing it illegally, driving around with tent that was too dark, it has to be balanced out. So it's not like it's karma coming back. It's just there has to be a balance between getting away with something and not getting away with it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So like I said, I just want to put that out there as just inspiration for people. And if anybody can grasp that concept to the point to where is anything that comes in our life, well, I'm gonna say it should be celebrated, but it should be accepted and say, okay, as much bad that I'm experiencing, I have to have some good in my life. Whether if it's 5 years from now, 10 years from now, at some point, I'm going to experience a good part of my life. That's just the way the universe is. It has to be a balance. So you can't go through your entire life just going through hell. Now, the flip side to that is like I was saying earlier, unless that person is just doing so much that the universe can't balance them out because all the bad stuff they're doing. But in all actuality, they may experience some good, but it's so minute. It kind of seems like it may be canceled out because they're doing so much bad, they don't even recognize the good. It might be a brief, day or 2 days, but it still balances out the bad and the good.
Yeah. So that's like for all the good, you're gonna get some bad, and I mean, I can see that. I get it. It makes sense what you're saying. Yeah, I don't know how people would receive that, like you were saying, because I guess when you're going bad, you just hard to accept to see that something good is coming. But I think mom used to say that you're having bad times, but you're gonna have some good ones. Just hang in there. She'll tell me that when I moved here, I call her or whatever, and I'm telling her, seemed like the world falling on me and everything go wrong is going wrong. And I remember she used to always say that in so many words, like just just know that you're gonna get some good. It can't happen all the time, but you're a good person and you're doing good, so you will get good things to happen to you. You just gotta hold on and keep believing and knowing that that day will come. If you want to call it seasons or whatever, I know some people use that terminology where everybody goes through a season. But yeah, I mean, like I said, sometimes it's harder, obviously, to deal with the hard times more than the good, right? Anybody can receive the good and be like, yeah, life is great. And then it's the same thing. You're so used to being good. When something bad happened, sometimes it takes a little bit longer for you to accept that and realize, I've been having good. I can't take that L one time and know that, for the good part of my life, I've been blessed. So yeah, I mean, it's hard to to grasp that because, like you said, it got to be balanced. So it's just a matter of you as a person individually knowing that and believing that and accepting that, knowing that you will get through the good and bad. Just know that it's going to happen that way. So yeah, I agree with that part. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so that's like one of my favorite sayings.
Right.
I think you ever heard this before, but like I say that all the time. If I'm going through something and I just feel as though it seems like it's not changing, the first thing that pop in my head is this too shall pass. Yeah. And when I say that, it just gives me a sense of relief.
Right.
And I relax a little bit and like, okay, as much as it may seem as bad as it is right now, I know at some point I'm going to get through this. Like last year when I was going through the situation with the massage license and I wasn't working. And at the time it was like, man, I'm not ever going to get a job. I know I'm not just stuck with, doing DoorDash or whatever. And I got all this education and stuff and I can't find a job. The car is breaking down or whatever the case is, but I just staying in the back of my mind.
Right.
This too shall pass. And at that time, I wasn't like really, really into the laws of the universe. And then actually after reading it recently and
Yeah.
just meditating on it, just actually letting it sink in and truly understanding what that means, it's like, man, that's pretty deep. If we just get to a point
Yeah.
to where it's like, okay, I'm gonna have to experience something,
Right.
bring it. And then once
Yeah.
I get through it, then
Yeah.
everything is gonna be better. And for somebody out there that's actually going through, just think about it. Depending on how long it may have been. I don't know. It may have been 6 months, a year, whatever the case is. Just that the law it has to balance out. For all the bad that you're having, you have to experience some good.
Yeah.
And like I said earlier, even if you're doing bad, you still gonna have to experience some type of good. So just pay attention to it, be mindful of it, be watchful, and embrace it. And then hopefully that will wake you up to the point, just like, you know what? There is some good things in life. I can experience some good things. So maybe if I step away from doing some of the things I was doing before, some more of this good stuff can come. Because for me, when I experience good, I'm like, okay, I like this feeling. That's what I want to keep feeling. So I
Right.
just remember that and put that in the back of my head. Okay, so this is what it feels like. And this is what I want to experience more so than experiencing the bad times, if that makes sense.
No, that makes a lot of sense. Now I'm gonna ask you this. Now it's more or less, hey, where'd you go? Okay, he had to pause, take a little brief. Oh, okay, I think you stepped out for a second. But no, I was just gonna say, you tell me if you think this correlates to when you say bad things, excuse me, happen to everybody. And I'm gonna use now something that happens at work. This is on the regular. So where I work at, like I told everybody, who don't know or remember, I work at in manufacturing company, so welding company for Toyota. So where I work at, they call us three different lines that each line has 5 people in it. And we work on the machines, the robots that welds the parts together. Now it's crazy. This always happened. How one line it's called M1, M2, M3. I work on the M2 line. Then the M1 is one of the manifold lines, and it was last week, I think 2 weeks ago, the whole week, like literally Monday through Friday, all the machines was breaking down. They were having a lot of downtime, and it was just for the most part of the day they was not working more than working, and it's just everything that could go wrong was going wrong, and all the co-workers getting frustrated and pissed off, and they should just send us home, and this don't make sense. I mean, just mad. And meanwhile, our line M2, no problems. I mean, and it's notorious for, like I said, for machines to break down there at work. But our line for that whole week, nothing. I mean, we ran smooth through the whole day, no issues, and typically that's not normal. So this past week, M1 ran perfect, no issues, everything was good. And then M2, our line, every day we had something wrong, had a lot of downtime, and we just said to each other, "See, it was our turn." Like last week, it was M1, and they was complaining and mad, and everything could go wrong was going wrong. And now it was our week, and it was everything that was going wrong was possibly going wrong. So I do believe that when you say that. That's what I was going to say. Do you feel like that can correlate to anything on any kind of level? Because yeah, something like that at work, we was good the whole week, no issues. And in this past week, it was everything was just going wrong, from the biggest thing to the littlest thing. It was just something was messing up. And it just, it's crazy how the week prior it was M1. So we all joke around now and be like, okay, who turn is it this week to have issues? And it's like each line goes through that little adversity where everything's breaking down. It's crazy. But yeah, that's some real stuff. So I totally believe in that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a perfect example. And yeah, so it applies to everything. Same thing with me when I'm at work. I have mine's is like in the same day though. I have good customers.
Right.
Damn Texans, boy. I don't know what it is about Texans, but they just on another planet. I don't know what's up with that, but
Right.
I have the most issues with Texans. But
Right.
anyway, in the morning, it's
Yeah.
like perfect. And that's funny. I tell what's name this. I said all the low vibrational people call in the afternoon because it's like all the good people, the nice,
Right.
sweet people. I
Uh-huh.
can hear them clearly. They don't have attitudes. They all call in the morning.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh man, it's gonna be a good day today. And then
Right.
sure enough, as soon as the
Uh-huh.
afternoon come, every call back to back to back. And I was like,
Yeah.
it's just balancing out. I have to experience the good
Right.
and the bad. It's just
Mm-hmm.
unfortunate. Mine is all within the same day. Then it
Right.
flip flop. Last week, it
Uh-huh.
was all the bad calls in the morning and then all the
And
good
then,
calls
yeah.
towards the end. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it applies to everything
Yeah.
that we do in life. But it's just one of those things that is so it could be considered minute. It's like something that some people don't pay attention to,
Yeah.
because most people look at it as either it's karma or either it's the devil. It's
Right.
always a more religious uh, undertone
Yeah.
behind it as far as why things happen to us. But
Mm-hmm.
most people don't see it as okay, everything that we do have to have balance,
Right.
you know? And it's
Yeah.
just like I was reading this and this kind of like messed me up for a minute. And just think about this. Listen, when you think about when it even comes to a truth and a lie,
Mm.
even a truth have
Uh-huh.
somewhat of a lie in it, and even a
Right.
lie have somewhat of truth in it. So it's like
Yeah.
we can't escape it. Everything has to be balanced.
Right.
Nothing we do in life will, survive without balance. That's just impossible.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I might be, repeating myself, but it just resonated so much with me. And like I can't express this enough, is that people, beautiful people, get to a point to where if you're experiencing bad, just know that the good is coming. You just got to be patient, continue to have good intention, and it's going to come. The key is not getting wary and getting so down on yourself to where you like, you know what, I just don't see it, and then give up. And I think that's where a lot of people get
Right.
caught up with like suicide or deep depression, is because they just can't see the good,
Right.
and they just not patient enough to say, okay, at some point it's coming. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
when, but it's coming.
Yeah. Yeah. You gotta take that. Yeah. You do. And, it's funny, and I know I'm reiterating the same thing as well. But I'm just sharing with people. So I'm not trying to come across like I'm sounding negative by saying this, but yeah, when you do experience that bad, and you do, like I said a minute ago, when you get the good, sometimes we tend to overlook that because we so accustomed of the bad because it's been so long. So, like you said, we have to stay focused and understanding that the good is coming at some point. It's really a challenge when you realize that all bad, and it's like, damn, when I'm gonna catch a break? Like, really? And then when it do, you be like, man, that's good, but I know some bullshit's still gonna happen. Then you still kind of set yourself up for expectation for something bad. Myself is guilty for that a lot in the past, where I was so used to it that when something did good come, I actually overlooked it as it's just something that ain't gonna be nothing good, something bad gonna happen right after that. So I never got to convince myself to accept
Yeah.
and realize that yeah, you're gonna have those moments where you're gonna go through a hard time and it's gonna take a minute, but you gotta embrace the good with that bad or the bad with the good. But like I said, it is challenging, But you're right. As long
Hey,
as you
Mark,
do that, yeah.
I
Oh,
think
you
this is
got
them. I'll
what you
be
got
right
to do?
back. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he's just gonna step out for a hot second. But like I was saying, guys, pretty much, yeah, we just gotta stay on it and know that the good is coming. And I think Matt put it perfectly when he was saying, if you do good and you do good intentions, I think that will convince you that you will get good times, even though you're going through a rough patch. And I was hoping Matt will be here. And I'm gonna say it again when he come back. And I think that's the other dynamic that's going to be challenging is when you do good and you know you're doing good intentions and you feel like, why am I getting all this bad luck or bad things when I do good in life and I'm doing everything way I'm supposed to? This ain't right. And then you kind of lose faith. But Again, for the third time, guys, that's when you have to find some way to look deep and tell yourself, for all this bad that's coming, I'm going to get good because I'm a good person, because I'm doing right. So I know that it's coming because you can look and one of your buddies or somebody you know doing all the wrong shit in life and they getting everything good coming their way. And that could really mess with your psyche and you really start thinking, why he getting or she getting all the good stuff and this person don't do nothing right. This person do this, and that wrong. And here I am doing everything the right way, but I'm the one catching hell. So that's where you got to stay focused on yourself and realize that your moment or your time is coming and don't get distracted by others that may in your view or your lens to you feel like why they getting all the good stuff and they the ones that's not even doing right in life. But here they are. But just know, and I'm not saying in a negative way, but their time is coming, So just know that it bounces, like Matt said, it bounces out. We don't know when. That's the part that kind of sucks. We don't know. There's no preview. There's no hint. There's no warning. It's just when it comes, you embrace it and know it's your time to reap for all the things you've been through, bad wise, and now you're getting the good, and just enjoy it and know it's something that you deserve, and in that way, it kind of helps you to push through. So when the cycle goes around again, and that bad comes along, now okay, it's just that time. I got to weather through it. I'm gonna push through it and know that my time is coming. I'm just dealing with the bad right now and just moving on. So anybody out there that's watching, please give us feedback and let us know. Oh, so
As the damn UPS, not FedEx.
Oh, for real. So I was saying this while you was going, Matt. So I'm gonna just say it again, just so you know what I was talking about. So I was pretty much saying that like you were saying a minute ago, that you gotta know and understand its balance. Like I was talking about how it's challenging. So I was also saying that the dynamic that's gonna make it more challenging is when you doing everything right. Like you said, you got good intentions and you're doing good. And you're like, I'm catching hell, I can't catch a break. And it's really challenging when you look at somebody and they doing all the shit wrong in life and they getting all the good stuff and you get all pissed off, like I'm doing everything right. But here they are doing stuff the wrong way and they getting everything what I should be getting. And that's where you gotta really be not distracted by other people and it really get disappointed or depressed. Just know that your time is coming because it's going to happen. It's no preview, it's no warning, it's no hint when you're good or bad. It's just going to happen. But when it happens, you got to be ready, like we were saying, and embrace it and just know full circle when that time come again. Now okay, it's that time. I got to go through this. But I know that, my good is coming again. I'm just got to go through this little phase where it's all this bad crap. But that's the challenging part is when you deal with stuff and you doing right and you see other people doing everything wrong in life. And here they are getting everything that you think you should be getting. So don't let that, because that would be real easy for you to get really disappointed, distracted, and lose that faith of thinking that something's good coming. So I believe that's gonna be the challenging, but we gotta push through that and realize that it's gonna happen to us too. And they gonna get theirs too. Not wishing it on anybody, but like you said, that's gonna balance out with all of us. No exception to the rule.
You know what? That's the hell of a point. Good point.
Yeah.
Because that's true. I know I've been at that point when I'm sitting there looking around, it's like, man, how are these jokers getting all that? And here I am doing my best to be, a good person.
Right.
And it's like I'm struggling. So that is a challenge. But the thing with that is, like, we'll never see. Sometimes people are, they experience stuff openly, or some people will hide it to where they make it seem like all is good, but it's really not. But behind closed doors, they could be going through hell.
Yeah,
so we'll never know.
Right.
But that's a good point, like you were saying, like not to get discouraged and always looking at the other person and be like, well, damn, I'm doing all this, and they seem like they go through life with no problems. Trust me, they experiencing something we just don't see.
Right.
And I think I used this analogy before. For me, the best way it illuminates to me
Mm-hmm.
And how I see it is I always look at it. It's like that in basketball too. I don't follow baseball that much or hockey, but in
Mm-hmm.
all the sports, more so
Mm-hmm.
football, that's how I can always tell which team is going to win is
Oh
because
yeah.
if they, and we talked about this before, like when
Yeah.
the Eagles was doing their winning, it's like,
Right.
man,
Yeah.
I'd rather them jokers lose early and win late
Right.
because it has to be a balance. Same
Mm-hmm.
thing with the Patriots when they went to the Super Bowl and they was undefeated. At
Right.
some point, they had to lose. So
Yeah.
that balance had the universe had to balance them out to the point
Mm-hmm.
to where they had to have a loss. So
Yeah.
it had to balance out what it wasn't balanced as far as the number of wins and losses. But I'm just saying
Mm-hmm.
as far as they
Right.
lost in the year and they won in the
Yeah.
year. So that was balance. They
Right.
didn't go
Yeah.
undefeated.
Right.
So I don't know. I hope that makes
Yeah.
sense
Yeah, it
to
does.
some of y'all that's out there watching. And like Mark was saying when I was coming in, I think he said comment. And we have one comment, and KJ said it's better not to compare. That's true.
True. Yeah.
Um, I won't even say it's comparing. I think it's just looking at, well, I guess there's no way around it. It's always going to seem like it's comparing.
Yeah.
But it's a challenge. I'm not going to sit up here and act like I got all the answers and
Right.
I do everything perfectly. I'm far from it. But
Right.
like I said, that situation last week, it just resonated with me. And it was like an epiphany. It's like, okay, so I
Mm-hmm.
can't complain. I got away with it for, X amount of time. It
Right.
has to come back to me at some point. So
Mm-hmm.
I just hope this serves as some form of inspiration,
Right.
um, that people can just grasp that idea or concept and say, you know what? The better days are coming, you know, and that's just the best way I can look at it and explain it is like,
Yeah.
hey, just be patient, it's coming. And I can feel it sometimes. I don't know about you, Mark, but I can feel sometimes when
Mm-hmm.
it's my season or things
Right.
are going on the up and up, and I try to
Mm-hmm.
ride that wave, and then I'm like, damn, I missed it.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I was in church and the pastor said that.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, y'all better jump on it. It's your season. And I was like, oh, and he's like, brother Matt got it. And sure enough, that was a good part of my life.
Right.
When I retired from the military, that was probably the best part
Oh yeah. Right.
time of my life. I was traveling. I was making
Mm-hmm.
like 8, 9 G's a month.
Yeah.
I was living good.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't gonna go into the other stuff, but yeah, I was
Right.
having a hell of a time.
Yeah.
And I had to experience the bad, when I
Mhm.
moved down here to Georgia. And unfortunately, from all the
Yeah.
good that I experienced, I had to experience some bad. I just had to go through it. And I'm starting to come out of it now,
Right.
but I had to go through it to make me stronger, to make me a better person. So I had
Mhm.
to go through what I had to while I
Right.
was here. I didn't want to at the time, but I had to go through it. And now it's starting to balance out.
Mhm.
But I know I said this already,
Yeah.
but KJ, I don't think you was listening then. The key to this is once you get to that point, you can't rinse and repeat. And this is one thing I always kind of notice, not that I'm judging anybody, but I can kind of tell what type of person they are and what they're going through in their life or what they're doing in their life. If they're consistently rinse and repeating,
Mhm.
then that tells me they're not doing something because they're getting good and they're getting bad. They're getting good, they're getting bad, which we are supposed to experience. But like I was saying, it should not always be extreme bad.
Right.
It should be some challenge just to balance out the good, but it shouldn't always be every time the other side of it comes, it shouldn't be so bad there's like, damn, that joker going through. That's a telltale sign that that person's doing something wrong.
Right. Yeah. That's what I was going to say right now. That's when I meant earlier about intent. Like, if you do too much, and what do they say? You do something, repeat 3 times, that's insanity.
Yeah.
Now, I really don't like using that term, but it is something you ain't picking up on, or you just refuse to see it, and you keep allowing yourself to let it happen. So that's why I was going to comment on when you said right now when you were saying that. So I was thinking while you was talking, if you do have bad, and it's keep happening to you, so how can you can also bring it on yourself in a sense, meaning if you get so much bad, you keep thinking bad things gonna happen, so you're gonna kind of allow stuff when you're not trying to change because you're so focused on, man, shit always happened to me anyway. So you kind of allow it in and not try to change to have good things happen to you, more or less. I don't know if that makes sense, but I was thinking about that
makes
right
perfect
now when you
sense.
said that. Yeah, so I think that's key too, and I'm guilty of that. I was one of those guys that was doing that where, and I remember Jay would be like, "Damn, Marcus, he'd be like, man, you don't get it. I used to do literally what I just said. I keep doing the same shit over and over. And Jay be like, dude, didn't you just realize you did that same stuff last year? What's wrong with you, man? You got, so I know from personal experience what you're speaking on, where if you keep having a lot of bad shit, then it's more or less, in my opinion, it's certain things you're doing wrong that's causing you, like you said earlier, it's a cause and effect to a certain extent on some of us that gets a lot of bad shit. Now, if you do right, like you were saying, for the most part of your life, you're going to me, I know you said balance, but you might get more good than bad, or the good might outweigh the bad if that's even possible. You know what I mean? You might get bad
Yeah.
shit happen, but it's like, man, that's bad, but my good is so much better because you are a good person. But if you somewhat good, but you still kind of riding the wave of when you suspect in what you do, I think that bad when it comes to you, it's gonna be so much harder because your choices you making are making them even harder when due comes back. If like I said, if that makes sense, but I kind of believe that's part of it, dynamic too. On as far as the level, if it's even levels of good and bad. Bad is bad to most people, right? If something ain't going your way, that's bad. So is it really bad? Or is it just you feel like you so used to something, whatever it is, bad happens? You're like, damn, man, what the fuck? This is some BS, man. Why did this happen to me? And it's not really nothing that major, but to your eyes, you might feel like that too. So, I know that was me. I was, man, if I get stopped at a light, I'm mad. Like, why does this always happen to me? Every damn red light I get. So some people get so caught up in everything bad that they just makes it even worse than it really is sometimes. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you do right for the most part. You're gonna get your bad, but the good is always there with it. So I think mom used to say it, or dad, take the good with the bad. So that's all I can put it in a nutshell. You take the good with the bad and just keep pushing and just, know that, you're going to get through it, like you said. So,
Okay.
yeah.
That's good. I was just sitting and thinking about what you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't want to get stuck on necessary everything's being bad.
Right.
I just look at it as, like I said, just the law of polarity is always opposite to the other.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I mean it's pretty straightforward. It's not much
Right.
more, we can elaborate on that.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
It's just that straightforward. Just take,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, take the good with the bad. Just know that as much good as you experience, you have to experience the bad too, and it's just going to make you more resilient and make you a better person in the long run. So I was motivated. It inspired me last week. It helped me get through that without being overly upset and pissed off. I was for a hot minute, but like I said, I just thought about it and said, okay, it is what it is,
Yeah.
you know, and just keep moving forward. So
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody else out there have something that they can share. If not, that's going to pretty much be it for this week. So this is
Yeah.
pretty short, sweet, to the point.
Right.
Um, not much else we can talk about, but like I said, just beautiful people just know, allow the good times to come, allow the bad times to come, embrace them both, learn from them both, and just move forward.
Yeah.
And as I always say, your thoughts becomes your belief and your belief becomes your reality.
Yeah. And I'm going to piggyback off of that last part you just said. You got to believe. that the bad, take the bad with the good. I should reverse that because we all embrace the good. Take the bad with the good, but just keep pushing forward and just know that good intentions, you're gonna have good things and bad. That's just like you said, the way of the world, the way of life. But just stay focused, trust your process, and stay consistent, guys, and live and be safe and be happy.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
All right. Until next week, beautiful people. Mark got the next topic. So we'll see y'all next week.
Yeah.
Enjoy. Oh, that's right. I'll be in Philly next week.
Oh, okay.
So,
yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
Let me see. We'll be back Sunday. So we'll be off next week, but the following week, Mark got the next two.
All right.
All right. Y'all be good. Peace.
All right. We out.